And here we go. I see our speakers popping up on the stage. That is awesome. So I think we can start. We're still missing one or two speakers that will join us as we do the intros. I'm super hyped to have you here today. It's another episode of Web3 Unchained. I'm your host, Bojana, co founder of Gamey. Gamey is co hosting today, a gaming platform with 100 million users. It has some Telegram superpowers. So if you guys are launching a project, reach out to them. They can definitely help you out with that. Today's space is all about launching and lessons from launching and how to launch in 2025. Quick reminder to everybody who's listening, hit that retweet, share the space, tag a friend so we reach more listeners. And let's go. Whitepaper is dead. Long live the launch. We will discuss if narratives moves the market and how that influences the launching and best practices. And we are joined by some incredible guests today. And we have Soulbound TV. I see you. Hi, hi. Largest on-chain streaming platform, decentralized TV, StreamFi. Do I get that right?
That's right. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome. We have Trivo. Do I pronounce that correctly?
That is correct.
Awesome. So next gen social platform, creators, fans leveraging AI agents, launching their own token and monetizing influence. Did I read that correctly?
Uh, Partially, but we'll talk more about Trivo, about you guys.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Of course, we'll give you space. I was trying to digest from your Twitter profile as much as possible. And let's see if your descriptions are well put for people to understand. It's also part of launching strategies, no? To have the one sentence pitch. um,
Absolutely.
yeah, awesome, awesome. I see also Fantico is on the stage, Web3 Gaming Hub on Avalanche, game launcher with a lot of tournaments and NFT power. Welcome on the stage.
Thank you. You got it right. Glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome, awesome. I also see Anomaly. And Giselle is speaking on your behalf. Hello, AI powered gaming platform, Telegram game launcher.
Yes, hello guys. Thank you so much for having us. I'm really, really excited to be chatting. And then, yes, I'm speaking on behalf of Anomaly. So, yeah, really excited to get into this.
Awesome. And last but not least, I see Bitcoin Rush. Yes, already a speaker, which is a Web3 game on Telegram that has some juicy prize pools offered for people. So definitely a place to watch as well. Welcome on the stage.
Hi everyone, thanks for having us. Happy to discuss whatever the gaming visions and also the market sentiment today.
Happy to have you here today. All of you have launched or are launching products, even adding new features. And for everybody who's listening, let's focus on your lessons, how the launch went. The more specific you can go, the better. People absolutely love it if you give examples. We will go one by one, but anytime you want to react or respond, interact with the other speakers, just raise your hand and go. People love interactions and discussion. So it doesn't really have to be questions and answers. We can open up the talk and just discuss, share, maybe even disagree. Let's see what happens. And let's start with an icebreaker. So I would ask you, dear speakers, what's the one Web3 launch? You can pick any token, game, or product that you think was executed brilliantly. So anything that in your past career has resonated with you and you thought, okay, this is really well done, and why? The stage is yours. Who wants to start? I don't want to put you in a spot, but maybe I'll just take it by an alphabet. No, from the end.
I can start. Yeah, first of all, thank you for having us, Bozena. Did I spell that right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, Great energy in this space. Awesome topic. My name is Ayman Said. I'm the founder CEO of Trivo. Interesting part that I actually gave a course on how to develop a project from scratch to certain TGE, the results, how to do the access, market makers, what to look for, white paper, building the community, basically all of the checklist that you need to do a project. Now, every cycle is different. I had the chance to build in 2 previous cycles, and every time we move forward, it becomes significantly harder. If you were building in 2017, 2018, you could have, went out there, said, I want to raise $30 million, and you would be selling on a Notion paper because it was the hype. Everyone, all of the investors, everyone, crypto, it's the new thing, 100x, 1000x. And it wasn't such a crowded market, so the quality benchmark was way lower. Then 2021, we started seeing, more mainstream adoption, more consumer. There was DeFi summer. So it was still relatively easy to start a crypto project because, it was super hype after the Corona dump, DeFi summer. It's, everyone is doing money, a lot of liquidity in the market. So, we saw the raise going down from, projects raising 30 and 40 and 50 million over Notion papers into a much more developed pitch deck. There's some sort of a more traditional business procedures going on in all of these new projects. But we saw the raises go down to 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5. This cycle is completely different, both in terms of how the market is or what the investors and what the consumers are looking for. Obviously, after all of the stuff that was happening in 2022, market was down, rug pulls. Today we see the average investor is much more cautious, right? Because they've been bitten so many different times. So the quality that is required for a project to shine and to actually have a chance became significantly higher. This is good and bad. We are on the side that this is good. Why? Because obviously a crypto project is just like any project. It has to be sustainable. It has to make sense financially. It has to solve a problem. Otherwise, it should not exist. So anyways, interesting conversation. Just I don't want to hog the mic too much. Thank you again, Buzena, and I'll give the mic to somebody else.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Fantico, do you want to take the stage? Or Soulbound, hand up, yes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of some good examples. I think as a streaming platform, I mean, also with gaming, I'm trying to think along the lines of gaming in general. I think Off the Grid did a really good launch when they had done theirs a while ago. I mean, a while ago, time flies, right? But in the last year, I think they've done a really good job with their launch. I think they really focused on the go-to-market strategy. They really focused on working with big KOLs and influencers or streamers that have massive audiences within the Web2 gaming scene outside of our little echo chamber of Web3. I think just in general, they did a really good launch. And I remember even just for weeks post launch, tons of people were streaming it, tons of people were playing it. And yeah, it was just a really good job. I think that they've done it. I mean, I'll shamelessly plug, we also did a campaign with them on Soulbound. But yeah, no, overall, I think, the whole topic around white paper is dead, long live the launch. I really love that because I think for a long time, especially, in the last cycle, I think specifically, we would emphasize so much focus on the white paper and, yeah, the presentation, right? I even remember a lot of games would be raising tokens before even having a tangible product or something that people could play. And I'm kind of happy that's slowly changing, right? I think the conversation around Web3 games have become a bit more serious. We're focused more on the product, and which ultimately leads to the launch, right? So, I think for a long time we focused a lot on white papers and all that stuff, and I think now people are really looking for real for real use cases, real utility, and real products at the end of the day, right? You could talk about all you want about what you're building in a white paper, but at the end of the day, anybody I think could have a white paper. people want to see real stuff. So I think, yeah, I kind of feel like it's a thing of the past, right? Sure, you'll have your white paper and all this stuff, but I think people's interests, it goes right through over their head. They actually want to see something serious. They want to see something they could play. They want to see something they could put in their hands. So yeah, I think just focusing more on product, focusing on having a big launch, and just focusing on building something long term and sustainable, I think is the real quote unquote white paper here. And the actual white papers are less and less as significant as what they used to be. But yeah, I think Off the Grid is a good example. I'm trying to think of other ones as well, but I think they did a really good launch, and it's still one of the games that we still talk about today within our scene. So I think they've done a decent job. But yeah, that is my answer for now.
Thanks. That's a really cool take. I saw Giselle from Anomaly. You had your hand up. Go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a different approach to this question because the first project that comes to my mind is taking it way back to the 2021 NFT era with Azuki and the Elementals drop. So obviously the Elemental drop was technically a flop, but I felt like it was almost a brand test and they really shifted the narrative of the drop to almost seem like it was purposeful. And because they built such a strong brand, it almost in a way made the drop a success because people still love Azuki, they still love the brand, they still love the community. And I feel like it's just an amazing use case of how building a good brand with a good product, yes, but building a good brand that people want to be a part of, like an Azuki or a Pudgy, can give projects a lot of leeway in case things do flop or do go wrong. And I think it's incredibly creative as well to almost shift the narrative in a way that it seems like the launch being a flop was a part of the whole, PR or kind of like a stunt or whatever. So I definitely feel like it tells us how strong Azuki's emotional moat is, and in a way that made the drop a success in its own way. So that was the first thing that popped to my mind, and I think we can definitely chat more about how building a good brand and a good narrative and a good community alongside a good product, is kind of the new white paper, especially since we've been in the space for a while now. People are able to kind of see through the whole thing of let's just launch whatever and see what sticks. Everyone's kind of matured past that point and either wants a product that has value or wants a community that they genuinely feel they can relate to. So that is the project that comes to mind, even though technically their launch wasn't great.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. That's definitely a cool one. Fantico, I'll take the stage.
Yeah, so I pretty much agree with our speakers before. More of it, I agree with with Soulbound. Of the Grid is one of those projects that we should talk about in terms of launches. They did a great job with their launch, and to be honest, they did what you should do as not a gaming project, but as a project with a product. You should first focus on the product, on the project itself, on the community, on getting people to see you, understand what your product is, and after that, just think about that token. Because to be honest, talking about the white paper, let's be honest, I don't think even 1% of the Web3 market right now checks a white paper, even more to read it properly and see what's inside of it. I remember the days like when I joined in 2017, late 2017. This is everything I was doing, checking white papers and trying to learn what the product is about. Of course, at that time, it wasn't that you didn't have those many KOLs, influencers talking about everything, shilling you projects and so on and so forth. You needed to go do your own research and understand that product if you wanted to invest in anything. On the other hand, talking about a project that I would say I was pleased to see the launch. To be honest, the price of the token right now is not at a good point compared to when it launched, but I think that's the case with most of the gaming projects in Web3, as the GameFi push did not come yet. I would say Gods Unchained. I'm a player since I joined crypto. I believe I found Gods Unchained in 2018, late 2018 or something like that, and they launched their token, I believe, in somewhere in 2022, or was it later? I need to check. I
I
don't
think it's
wanna say.
definitely like 1 or 2 cycles back. You're right.
Yeah, late like 2030, 2021. So they didn't launch the token before the product. They didn't prioritize the token, but they did something within it. They rewarded a lot of their early adopters, early players. I was one of them, fortunately, because it was pretty big. But yeah, it's hard to sustain that. This is something I would talk about gaming projects right now, but I think projects in general should look back at those projects and learn from their mistakes. Incentivizing, it's a great way of getting a community and keeping it, but at some point it's not sustainable anymore, and you'll fail as a project, and you won't be attractive anymore. I can see that in a way or another with Gods Unchained right now. The traction is still there, but it's not, definitely not as it was before. As the token is pretty low in price. So though this is my call on this. I would say that what white paper, of course, it's important. You need it because it's like your core document, right? But don't expect people to read it. They don't read nowadays. They just hate reading.
I think it's a very fair point to set expectations. I also like your point on actually it's okay to make a mistake, but it's not okay to keep doing the same one, right? So we should learn from what other projects before us or even our projects have done in the past, how they've worked. That's awesome. And we still have Bitcoin Rush. You want to share your thoughts on a cool project or a token that had a good launch that crossed your mind?
I agree a lot of the points that the previous speaker brought up, but actually, like personally, I think Web3 audience like divided into different aspects. So, for example, most people don't read white paper anymore because like now the market is like very dynamic. But personally, I still read white paper for some reason, and I know some people still read white paper. But I found that the people who read white paper just because they really want to get to know the project. So I do think that if you are seriously doing the product, you do need to have a white paper, and a lot of time like investor need it to like make you make like they need it because like it make your project look more seriously in the long term. So from that aspect, that I do still feel like the white paper things that has to be existed, but sadly that a lot of people right now they are here for the gains, for the financial reason, so they don't really care about what you're building, but that doesn't mean that we have to stop doing that, because I think a lot of good projects that if you read deep into it, you can also see what their vision is, and then where this product can solve a lot of pain points in this world. So I do think that white paper serves a still very good purpose for people to understand that where this product is heading. But like for us, we don't have white paper for this game. A reason is because we have a different purpose of launching this project, and we know like our game is not as complicated as needing a white paper, but we do have a very strong community, and I have to emphasize on this part is that community for us is the strongest, and we constantly communicate with them, making sure that they understand like where we're heading to and what we're building, making them understand that the product's working, the game is always working, and if they have questions, they can always reach out to us. So that's why we don't have a white paper on this end. But anyways, to sum up, I still feel like if it's like if there's a chance and the product fits, the white paper economy definitely should have one. It's great for it's great for the project having the more stronger community, making showing the more sustainable product in a long way.
Thank you. Thank you for the take. Yeah, I'm still playing with your game a little bit. I need to explore more, but you definitely have a very passionate community. That's awesome. Now I would like to take the discussion more specifically to your projects, so you can share any learnings that are specific from your launch or how you work with others to launch. Before we do that, I would like to remind everybody who's listening, feel free to retweet, tag your friend, whoever needs to hear this. Let's make sure they do, because now the golden nuggets are coming, and hopefully all the speakers will be sharing some amazing pieces of advice, how to launch or lessons from their launch. So hit the retweet. And now let's go a bit more specific. So we have heard from you some ideas or some examples of past launches, and I would like to take it more specific to your project, because there is a lot of general knowledge or saying that, some people say, if the meta is there, if the narrative is hot, you have to be fast, you have to launch fast, and you figure out the rest later. Some people criticize this and say, no, you have to polish your product. You need to make sure you have a product market fit, build community, and then launch. So people do not really agree on this. And sometimes the advice is different than the action. Sometimes you hear a lot of people giving advice by actually doing something different. So I would love to hear from you how you approached launch in your company, or how you give advice around launches, because some of you work with others on launches. What's the right way to launch in 2025? Trivo, stage is yours.
I would start with building. This is the key word here, right? So there's two approaches that we've seen projects go out to market, right? First one is, there is a hype. Let's put all of the hype, marketing, the right KOLs, good storytelling, right? Building the right partnership, and we sell this vision to the future. That's one way of doing it. Now, unfortunately, it's a very risky way of doing it, because if that doesn't work out, you're competing with a lot of other projects, right? It's hype. So where do you fall back? If you have very limited resources as a startup, I would assume, right? So where do you put these resources? Do you put them initially on, catching the narrative and trying to catch the time frame, or do you put these resources in the product? In our case, we put our gamble in the product. We have a very useful product, pretty massive. The visions and the ideas that we're bringing revolutionary. We're democratizing tools that have been only for enthusiasts in AI and Web3, and we're bringing to the masses in the simplest, most fun, interactive, social possible way that we can do, just to remove all of the friction, give all of these tools. So because of because of our gamble, we were just pushing the product further and further and further, and at the same time we're going for community building, so that this community tests our product. And why is this approach? So if you have a very solid product, right, that that has a real use case, a good product market fit, right, you can always generate that marketing. Two things that will generate that hype for you. One is the actual product itself, whether it's really usable, it can go viral, it fits as a solution for real problems people face on daily basis, right? That's one. And two, because you have a developed ecosystem and actual product, you're going to your investors not just with an idea, you actually executed, right? And what you need is basically the resources so that you can go to market and scale. And this is where our gamble was. We are very blessed that we had a super dedicated team that kept pushing even in the hardest time. We started building at the bear market when there was absolutely no money, right? And we wouldn't have survived if we didn't see the progress on our product and the feedback from the community. As our colleagues were saying, you want to have a product that is sustainable, right? And our approach was, okay, what are the main issues that are facing creators today, right? And we can talk a whole reason why we started building a social platform in the first place. But think about where creators are today. Their communities are divided, right? Monetization is very unfair. Accessibility is not accessible for everyone. Less than 1% of all creators worldwide can monetize, not monetize, but can monetize, right? For all of these different reasons. And also, putting out value online it's a full-time job. It's pretty hard. Now, there are tools that can make this experience much better. We know Web3, we've been using it, but they're so fragmented, they're so hard. We know AI can bring the knowledge of the world to the creator, but again, it takes you certain experience to be able to deal with prompts. So we looked at all of these different problems, solutions, how we can apply them, right, to build a better product. And what this led is that the community that we were onboarding, they were bringing their friends. They stuck with us and got us forward through some of the hardest time. And here we are in the bull market. We're just days away from releasing our product. A campaign with you guys at Gamey that we're very excited, along with several other partners. So it's up to you where you want to put your gamble. But from a third-time founder, I would say that the least risk for you as a founder is to go in the product, right? The money will come in if you have something solid, if you have the good fit, the good community, the first users, right? Just show the investors that you literally can scale this into a billion. This is our 2 cents on this topic. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I have a follow-up question for you. Since you're working with players to actually launch their tokens, agents, or monetization layers, right? So do you think that creators actually need to launch like startups? It's a similar type of strategy and thinking.
So think about this as where do you are a creator of value. When we say creator, it's not necessarily just content creator, but a person that is providing value by doing, by having their their name online. What it might be an education course, it might be entertainment. There's different types of values. But here's the thing: where are the communities of these creators? They're scattered everywhere, right? So what we try to do is try to have a product market fit, right, where it actually has a reason to exist. Yeah, we have great tools, right? But what kind of added value that brings to the whole experience, to the whole ecosystem that the creators use? Well, it's a pretty good place for their community where they can build their ultimate page. So you can literally build your page by customizing the tabs. Not everyone has to have the same tabs. You can select from a template. You can have your shop, your offers. You can create a token to token gate that experience so that you are giving your most exclusive value to your most loyal fans, right? You can automate your workflow with agents. You can have AI tools that can help you from generating images that reflect your culture or the message that you want to do, to creating posts, to analyzing analytics, even small tools like Learn, in under 30 minutes, right? So what we try to do here is to bring all of this power put it in the creator, allow him to create a space, a platform for him and his community, not necessarily as a business, but as a community place where, you know, the creator, his followers, his fan base, it can be a brand, and all of their followers can be an organization, can be a crypto project, right? To have a home to interact in multiple different new ways to monetize the influence, right? To incentivize. So we have this one creator ecosystem. We have this one, how can we say it? Basically, the creator has his own financial control, right? Over all of the interactions that are
Right.
happening, the monetization strategies, and so on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. All creators, you should go
Thank
check
you.
Trivo. Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Let's go to Soulbound. You have a hand up. Do you want to share your take on what's the right way of launching in 2025, or any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, to reiterate my previous point around just, I think it's important to really focus on product, creating something really tangible. That's what we had done here at Soulbound initially before doing a lot of other things. I think we do have our TGE coming up very soon, but we really decided to really focus on building out our platform first, right? Building a foundation of streamers, building a foundation of viewers, and focusing on becoming one of the best on-chain streaming platforms, right? So I think at the end of the day, as much as having a white paper is great, we obviously have one. It's much more I guess, yeah, it's much more interesting in many fronts, actually having built out what we promised in the white paper and building that foundation so that when we do something interesting like a TGE, or we do anything else, that's interesting for the community or for our creators, we've got that foundation built for them where they do have a platform where they could stream and explore and build a community and earn XP for future rewards and everything else. So yeah, we really wanted to focus on that. That was, I think, and to answer your question, what could projects be doing? I think at the end of the day, if you're still at the white paper stage of the startup, I think focus on actually delivering and building something interesting. And at the end of the day, it's providing value, right? I think, especially in the industry that we're in, there's so many broken promises and expectations that are set. At the end of the day, people want to see something real, and people want to see something they could put, they could put their hands into. So that's really how we approached it at Soulbound. We spent the last year really building out our streaming platform. Even before Soulbound TV, a lot of folks might already know a lot of the other stuff that we've done previously with Soulbound. So we've been around, we've been building over the years, and it's not just something that just kind of came out of the woodwork, out of nowhere. So yeah, we've been building, and I think that really speaks volumes. People want to see longevity, people want to see accountability, and people want to see people that are serious in this industry. And yeah, I mean, with with everything going on in the market, whether you want to call it a bull market or not, it's great to see folks that have been building over the long run and during the tough periods that we face in this industry. As I think now a lot of folks could really pick out and see who are the serious people and not just people that are coming out of nowhere now that the market's pumping. No, we've been here for a long time. Same thing with projects like Gaming. Shout out to you guys. You guys have been here since the last bull market. So at the end of the day, I think people are really looking for that trust, and I think that trust really comes down to longevity and who's been building over the long run, and not just you know, uh, I'll end it at this, not just talking the talk, but actually walking the walk. So I think those are all important things. But yeah, that's what I'll leave it at that.
Awesome, awesome. But in your case, you're not just launching a product, right? Since you're building a platform, I think it's fair to say that you're StreamFi pioneer. So it's the tech itself, and it's the definition of the industry around decentralized media, but it's also a creator ecosystem. So then, I mean, it becomes harder to say, okay, what's more important to deliver the product, but also you have to make people excited for a vertical that's only emerging, right? So they're kind of like suggest you need to show the vision, show the future before you actually have all of the product built. So I don't think it's always a clear cut whether you need the product first and delivery first, or whether you need to, lead with the vision and with kind of a little bit of future selling to show where you're going. What's your view on that? It's a follow up for you for Soulbound. No, no.
I'm so sorry. Do you just want to repeat the last piece
Yeah,
that you just said?
sure. Sure. Yeah, I was wondering how you navigate, like the balance between pushing the product first and doing the marketing around the product, or rather focusing on the creator ecosystem, because without creator, you don't really have a product. Or if you need to put importance on actually showing the vision, because you're defining a new industry in streamfi decentralized media. So more necessary future selling. So there is a balance between delivery and tech, creator ecosystem, or showing the vision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of framed it right. I think, especially in the industry that we're in, things move so fast. You sometimes have to do all three at the same time. I think, especially with our situation, we already kind of had. So initially, as before Soulbound TV, we were very much kind of like a questing platform. You would go to our platform, you would be able to earn rewards, and essentially playing different games and all this stuff. And then we slowly evolved. We still have self-serve bounties and kind of a questing system with bounties in our platform, but that's when we evolved into streaming. But to answer your question, we've already kind of been around before even launching Soulbound TV. So we already had that foundation. So at the same time as we were kind of building out, the marketing was already in place for previous products. I think as we shifted more to Soulbound TV, the marketing kind of slowed down a bit as we built out the product or the platform that we have now. But at the same time, it wasn't something we were, completely capable of shutting off overnight, right? Like completely stopping marketing while we already have our community, I don't think would have been a good idea. So we kind of kept rolling that out. And then I think that as Soulbound TV really developed as a platform, obviously marketing would still continue, but it was only really after we really had something really tangible that we focused more on marketing. And yeah, to your point, I think at the same time, just building out our platform, focusing on onboarding our creators, having consistent streamers, that is a huge part of our marketing. So, for sure, having streamers promoting it on social media, streaming, making sure there's consistently streamers on our platform, bringing bigger streamers from other platforms that already have an audience that, would do a great crossover with Soulbound TV, focusing on that too, as that's huge for our marketing as well. So, yeah, to kind of answer your question, it's always been, I think, at the forefront of everything that we've been doing. We kind of juggle all different hats at the same time, kind of just because we have to. And at the same time, it's also important to kind of keep the ball rolling. You just never know whose attention you're catching. You also just never know when the market could turn around, right? One day you think things are great, then the market dumps, and then next thing you know, the market's back, and now we're hitting all-time highs. Now everybody's bullish, and now people want to check out more streaming and more
So
streams and
typical.
stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. Treva, do you want to do a quick reaction before we move on to other speakers?
Yes, I just wanted to add quickly on a point mentioned earlier regarding how do we signal investors about what we want to do, right? If the white paper is dead, right, and we're focusing on product, how do we signal, like, what's coming up within the next year? So we we did another document, we called it light paper, which was basically a glorified pitch deck with all of the IP, the financials, the performance, the traction, how do products work, a small demo, really like 50-page paper. And we use this as a tool to investors where they can see where the product is now and they can see what are the upcoming steps visually. So we put a lot of, think about it as a business plan. You go to any investor, right? You have you get a sell your case, right? You're asking for money in return for what? So we use these documents that we generated more as a business plan that has good graphics, right? Everything is visually beautiful, appealing. Took extra care of the details in the storytelling, in the order. What do we want to show the investors, and what are the things that we keep very dearly to our heart? So that worked like magic, going hand in hand with the product. I do recommend this kind of approach. I mean, we had a lot of advisors like, oh, guys, pitch deck, keep it short, right? But if you're going for something like equity, where your main thing that you're selling is the actual IP that you're developing, I think that approach kind of makes it much easier for the investors, at least, to give you the first yes. And it's a good tool for the due diligence teams as well, just to go into details. They have their questions, their assumptions, and so on.
Some very good points. Thank you for everybody who just joined us listening. We're speaking about launch strategies, and we're giving some free advice. We just heard many golden nuggets from the first half of our speakers. Before we continue, don't forget to retweet, so we reach more audience. And now over to we saw still 3 more speakers that they will share their point of view on launch strategies, best practices. So let's go. Anomaly, Giselle, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'll keep it short and sweet, but obviously I love what everyone was saying about having a good product. I think that goes without saying. I think projects that build on hype and kind of over market a product that people don't want or that doesn't work are the projects that don't often last. But as the head of marketing for Anomaly, I focus a lot on storytelling and creating brands and games that people want to play and communities want to be a part of. So again, it goes without saying, we have great products, we have great games, and we have an amazing dev team that builds these games that people want to play, that have these reward systems and these characters and these worlds that keep our players coming back. And I think that's the fun thing about launching products and marketing within gaming, is that you get to enjoy all of these worlds and have this really expansive creative adventure with all of the marketing and all of the games that we're making. But from a launch perspective and from a marketing perspective, what we really try and focus on is creating storytelling behind these games, whether that means we're creating lore, whether that means we're creating really memeable characters or cute characters that our community want to play with or want to share with their friends. And really honing in on that emotional aspect of marketing, because at the end of the day, that is something that people relate to. It's something that will be here forever, is being able to tap into people's emotions in a positive way. How do our games make them feel? Do they make them feel good, nostalgic, excited? And so one of the things that worked really well for us was our current game that just launched, Muafo, which we launched with Sofon and Gamey as well, was creating a lore behind the game. It's a game about cows in space that are rescuing other cows from being milked unethically. So already it's a cute concept behind the game. It's mimetic, it's shareable, it's funny. So all of these really fun points that kind of tap on people's emotions in a good way. And what we did and what worked really well for us was we created this lore around the game, and we started teasing the characters and the space and the kind of the humor behind the game before it launched. And we actually got organic KOLs tweeting about us. So, it wasn't paid or anything. It was purely because the characters were so cute and they loved the absurdity of the narrative of the game. And that worked really well for us, because then we had people speaking about us before the game even launched, which is obviously good for any project that is launching. And ultimately, we kind of created the situation where we were building with our community. We were releasing things with our community. We were keeping them in the loop. so that by the time the game launched, they weren't just waiting for a launch of a product, they were waiting to take part in this story, in this narrative, in this world that they almost felt like they were a part of from the beginning. And I think, that is so important, not just for pre-launch or intra-launch, but also for post-launch as well, where we often see a drop-off in usage. Obviously, again, a good product, good reward systems, in-game mechanics specifically relating to games are all important, but are you creating a story that people want to be involved in? um, and that is, I think, a hack or something that a lot of marketers, especially in gaming, can really use. And one last thing I want to add is, we're a gaming studio, so we have a lot of different games under within the studio. And something that works really well for us is, because it's all part of the same ecosystem, we almost co-market between these games and these different chains that we're working with as well. So that really helps, because it's a way that we can make these games interoperable in a sense, even if it's just from a marketing standpoint. So each game gets to leverage the other, but at the same time, it's bringing all of these characters and these worlds that our community love under one roof and having these characters almost engage with each other. So, just to kind of summarize what I was saying, product, like what everyone was saying, it needs to be good. I couldn't agree more. But to add an extra layer on top of that, especially if you're in gaming, you need to be able to story tell and to create these worlds and these brands that people want to be a part of, because that will not only make them want to be around for launch, but that will help them stick around for post launch as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Giselle, for sharing. I've noticed that you have some new games on Telegram, right? And I was wondering, when you mentioned that you have games across different chains, is there any specific strategy for launching on Telegram based on your experience?
Yes. So we have Mufo that just launched now with Sofon. We have Gmeow that is currently launching with Aptos, and then we have another game launching in a couple of weeks with Plume. And I think when it comes to chains, what we're really focusing on is marketing to their communities. So understanding what that chain's communities like. Obviously, it's all gaming, and so that will be our general target. But understanding that for Aptos, this is what their community relates to and enjoys. For Plume, this is what their community relates to and enjoys. And just adjusting the marketing strategy a little bit for that. But in terms of marketing game on Telegram, it's just making sure that we direct people to Telegram. We have the Telegram channel set up. We constantly post on there so that people feel like they are up to date, they're in the loop, and again, they have that community on Telegram. So if they just want to stick on Telegram, they don't feel like moving over to Discord or checking out, because there's so many social media platforms nowadays. It really does overwhelm people and bombard them. And so we just make sure that we're also focusing our attention on the Telegram channels as well.
Great takes. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go to another game. Bitcoin Rush. Do you wanna share? You have a game life, retro vibes, Bitcoin references, cool accessible gameplay. So looking back, do you want to share what worked well in your launch? And if anything, is there anything you would do differently next time?
Oh, yeah, sure. So as we already touched on the product aspect and partially marketing, actually, like, of course, having a fun and playable game is important. And on top of that, like for us, it's a community building. There is only like so much a project or an ad like campaign can do. But when you got a community that genuinely believes in what you're building, that they become your army. Basically they spread the word, they defend you thing when things go tough, and that just be very real. Like things do get tough in this space quite often. Because we have a record of how active our community is. We also have a we have a return rate of over 50% of players can coming back. It definitely also help our partnership. Like we get some big partnerships like CoinMarketCap, Card, FSL, Academy, more in the early launching spaces with no or even very low cost. But that say like timing matters a lot too. Like the market is very time sensitive. So you also got to catch the right trend at the right moment and monetize it that window while it's still open. For gaming is pretty tough. Launch a mini game is usually fine, but if you are working on something bigger like a AAA game or like something real similar, it gets trickier. Like because even with a great game, like attention can be somewhere else entirely. Even you have a really great game, but that's just where a strong focused community can help you de-risk and stay steady through market share. So that is our strategy. Is like build a very strong community that who believe in our vision, who like our game, and then we started from there.
Awesome. I wanted to ask because your game has a really nice prize pool. I believe it's $500,000 worth of rewards, right? So I wanted to ask about the prize pool, how big of a growth driver the rewards are for people, and what's your like long-term strategy on the rewards?
Actually, like our game is created to for people who like as long as like you make efforts at playing our games, you always get rewards. It just depends on what kind of reward you get. So basically our game, the players can earn Bitcoin, USDT, ton and more rewards by mining our token. So every time you tap in our game, you earn something. Why we're doing this is because we're not purely just giving points for people. Like that's kind of like a lot of people can understand like probably this project even not going to do TG and those points are useless. So we're not doing that, and we're not so sure we're going to do TGE for our token. But what we reward them for our own Unchained token is that we partner up with different kinds of communities, and then those community because we do have record that our communities are active, so they probably will donate on the Reneti token and incentivize our community to do the quest or to get to understand more what their other communities are doing. So even though we're like mind to earn again, but I would say like our communities come from a lot of different very diverse gaming communities, and they are all interested in different kinds of game, and that's like what we value a lot, because a lot of like tap to earn games, like people just here for the financial gain and they don't really care about what you're building, and if you don't launch it tokens, they're gonna be really mad. But for us, it's like every time, every minute you spend in our game, you get something back. So that's definitely something that's why our community members, why players keep coming back. But other than that, I think we do a lot of like new prices. Like for example, we recently high some of the Labubu and then also Rolex prices in our cluster. No one has mined it yet, but it's actually there. They have 5 Labubu inside. So if you get lucky, you mine that and then definitely post it and let us know. And then we constantly like checking what people like in this space, and we do have a lot of Web2 players. So we just listen to our community, getting their feedback, and then trying to find what they like, implementing in our game, even though the gameplay is super simple.
Thanks for the take. It's really cool to hear, because somebody recently described to me that there is a strategy of airdrop without a token, and I was wondering what's that? And they explained it was actually just giving points, and the token never appears. So, well, hearing somebody have a clear strategy of rewards that are sustainable and long term and tied to the game is really refreshing, because we have also seen many examples where this was like completely off. So, thanks for the take. And last but not least, Fantico, you're building infrastructure tool for Web3 gaming, launch your NFT tournaments. So you get to see a lot of launches or support a lot of launches, right? So what is your take on launching strategies in 2025? What is your guidance for games and projects on your platform?
So for now, you're right with what you said, but for now we didn't see any launch because we just started with the launches.
Let's
So
go. Perfect. So everybody who's listening and wants to launch on Avalanche, right? Fantico.
Yes, we're waiting for you. We're cooking something pretty massive with AVAX, and you'll find out pretty soon about it. Where everything we're doing, it's super close to them. Um, in terms of launching in 2025, I'll revert to what I previously said, which I think it's the core thing. Focus on your product, focus on your community, bring believers, create OGs, be relevant, keep some incentives because Web3 is everything about incentives. Everybody joining Web3 joins as a speculator or an I don't know, investor. Nobody joins as a gamer because we all know that nowadays Web3 games are not as good as Web2 games, but they start getting they pretty much have a chance to get there. So back in 2021, they had no chance. Right now, we start to see some spark in there. Create, I don't know, create some buzz. Hype is great, but you don't want too much hype because that's something that will kill your project eventually if you have too much hype. We saw a lot of projects with a lot of hype that eventually dropped because I don't know if you have like millions of people trying to I don't know she'll get something out of there, and at some point they're disappointed. You'll get a lot of negative marketing. Of course, negative marketing is still marketing, but it depends on how many fronts and how that goes. My best advice for this, in my from my perspective, would be just develop. I don't know, put as many funds into development. Bring that product to life, make it, listen to your community, build a community and listen to it. It's super important because those are your I don't know, your consumers, investors, and speculators all together. It's not just like a traditional game. Whenever you will be launching a token in the future, those will be the guys that will help you with that token as well. That will help you with marketing and everything, with hype and everything. So listen to your community because there are so many projects just neglecting their community and not caring about their concerns and what they want and need. And at the end of the day, we're just another project, right? Nobody in this space is following just us. Web3 users are following hundreds of projects. You just need to make the best possible, I don't know, outcome to make that user come back to your project as soon as possible, as often as possible. If it's every day, every week, uh, you'll be like one project from a handful that he's checking every day. So that's super important. So listen to that user. That would be my call on this. I think everything starts with the product. As long as you put the right effort within it, in it, and of course you need a bit of luck. Of course, that's super important. You need market conditions are important as well, and everything, because we all know if you would have launched a gaming product in 2021 to 2022, that was something. If you launched it in 2023, that was a totally different thing. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Fantico, for sharing. It's perfect timing, perfect nuggets to wrap this up. It was an awesome space to have you guys on. We have discussed launch strategies and what's the right way to launch in 2021, 25. Narratives, yes, they do move markets, but we have learned that only real value makes people stick. Massive thanks to all of the speakers, everybody who's listening, follow them. They have amazing projects, so make sure you go and explore. Also, if you like what you heard, hit that retweet so we get the algorithm work for us. And also shout out to our co-host Gamey, a gaming platform with 100. I usually say 100 million, but it's actually 115 million users. Can you believe that? And Gamey is helping projects to take off and launch as well. So reach out to them if you have a project to launch. And see you in 2 weeks. The next episode drops in 2 weeks, and we will be speaking about AI, whether AI replaces interns or perhaps even founders. This is Web3 Unchained. I'm Bojana, co-founder of Gamey. I'm super happy to be here with you today. Stay curious, stay loud, and stick the landing. See you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.